Welcome to my podcast. P3M with Kailash Upadhyay. In this podcast, we discuss the real impact of projects, programs, and portfolios in various organizations in achieving their strategic objectives, in delivering their goals, and ultimately the larger vision of the organization. We also bring the guest real experiences in this domain and their lesson learned, their impact to various organizations, and their contribution to larger success for this entire community. With this, I want to introduce my guest Satej Panditrao today. Satej Panditrao has overall 13 years of overall career experience. He started his professional work with Indian National Center of Ocean Information Services. He was also a research scientist with ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization, and currently he is handling the strategic projects with Amnex Technologies. So, first of all, Satej, welcome to my podcast, P3M with Kailash Upadhyay.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. So, Satej, of course, we want to share your success stories of PMP certification. Recently you have achieved PMP certification on your first attempt with above target score in all the three project management domain, which are people, process, and business environment. That's a great achievement. But before even we talk about your PMP certification journey, Satej, you have a great professional career. I would like to ask you, can you walk us through your entire professional journey and how you came to project management career, Satej?
Yes. So I did masters in physics and geomatics. So basically,
Awesome.
physics is a theoretical subject. Geomatics is an application of physics. Then my first job was in SEPT University as a junior research fellow because I had that, you can say, propinquity or liking towards research. So I started off as a junior research fellow in SEPT. Then after a few months, I got a better opportunity in INCOIS, that is Indian Ocean Information Services in Hyderabad. There I was working as a project assistant. So I was handling different projects like tsunami vulnerability assessment. There was a tsunami in South India. So they have a big tsunami early warning center established in INCOIS. So I was working there. Then mapping part was there. I basically work on satellite image processing, derived outputs, and so on. So after I think 4.5 years, I joined NRSC. NRSC is the body of ISRO, National Remote Sensing Center. It is only in Hyderabad. There I spent around 1 year. During that period, I was working on forestry projects, urban, agriculture. Many projects were there. So that was a government institute. So I wanted to prove myself in corporate world. So I changed my job and entered in Amnex, where it is basically situated in Ahmedabad, and they were working on agriculture. So it was a very ambitious project of the Ministry of State Gujarat. So it was a very good project. I started off as a senior consultant there. I worked on Gujarat as well as Andhra Pradesh project. After 4 years, I joined AGI, that is Association of Geospatial Industries. It is basically an industry body of the geospatial industries. Geospatial means anything is related to location. In mobile phone, we use location-based services,
Yeah,
GPS,
yeah.
maps, and so on.
Yes.
These are basically applications of geospatial industry. So I was working as a technical manager in AGI. During that period, I again got an opportunity because then it was an ambitious project of Ministry of Agriculture. I again joined Amnex as a business analyst as well as a subject matter expert. So I used to sit in Delhi. I was working there, handling multiple stakeholders, their expectations, their disagreements. I used to get frustrated by their more expectations.
Yeah,
During
yeah.
that period, I realized that only technological knowledge is not sufficient. I used to take up project management duties. I used to learn project manager in deeper details. So I decided to pursue this certification. Though it was not a smooth journey, I took time to take my decision because it was a very big decision. And generally, we take time, we reflect upon our thought process. We built up solid basis to take that decision. And finally, I took my decision. My friend, who happens to be my colleague as well, he suggested me to join advanced skills to take the necessary training and complete 35 videos for PMP exam. And I joined advanced skills, and it was a great experience. The trainers were really good, And after completing my training, I started my study for the exam.
Awesome, awesome. So, Satej, is really a very interesting career working with Ocean Research Organization, where you were finding the root cause of the tsunami-related bigger issues to the public at large, and then you moved also into ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, where you started working on agricultural-related initiative from the ISRO as an organization. And you also started doing a lot of work, as you said, in Amnex. So that is really, really very interesting career. And I'm glad that you more than your research and technical, as you rightly said, subject matter expert in a lot of this research and agricultural and ocean research thing. You also decided to pursue the project management professional to create a larger impact to these organizations. And in fact, this is not many people have similar kind of mindset. They always, I've seen Satej, people with 15, 20 years, and they still remain in the same field. They don't want to move into the management career because they don't see how their subject matter expertise combined with their management experience, how that bigger impact can be brought for various stakeholder. And I think so you have done that wonderfully, Satej. Okay. So that's really great. So Satej, and also thank you that you trusted add-on skills for your project management career, and of course, which started with training and this entire certification journey. And passing with above target score in all the three domain talks a lot about your passion to project management, your application of project management, because only those people can get such score who really know the inside out of project management, and then they can also do such wonderful in the certification exam as well. So congratulations for this PMP certification success, as well as for such wonderful career that you have so far. And I'm sure that with PMP certification you will have even better career and great impact in various organization. Now I can imagine, Satej, when you saw the result about target in all the three domain, can you take us back what was going through your mind during this certification when you were sitting for the exam, Satej?
Sure, sir. I remember that day I groomed myself up and went to that exam center in Ahmedabad. It was a very good center. The staff
Yeah,
was very cordial. They
yeah,
helped me with all these procedures and they told me that now it is the moment you have to go inside and take your exam. I was very nervous because it's a very extensive exam and I studied a lot since last 6 to 7 months. So I was very nervous. But I went inside, started the exam. The exam was good. The questions were not that difficult, but they were lengthy. And
yeah,
as I discussed with you earlier, that I practiced a lot of mock tests. So the stories were similar, but the language was a
right.
bit difficult. It happens
Yes,
because the more you practice, the more you become familiar with all these concepts. So the questions were not that difficult. I started it. And after completing the first session, I was a bit nervous because, as far as the three sessions are concerned, the first one was the most difficult as compared to the rest of the two sessions. Then I
yeah,
was
yeah,
very nervous because I had to rush through few of the last questions. It happens because management is the key and lengthy questions were there. But the second session, when I started, it was the easiest one. I did all the questions and I decided that I will not skip any of the questions. And I did that. I didn't skip any question. Then in the last session, few of the questions I had to rush through, last few, three, four questions. But the overall exam was very good. I attended each and every questions. And as I said, we have to understand the ups and downs in the question, the
yeah,
nuances, the language, because PMP is not only the language of project management, it is a language, it is an exam of English language also. You have to understand the nuances.
yes,
When you understand the nuances in the question, half battle is won. So
yes.
I understood that nuances by practicing multiple mock sessions, referring to many videos, AI, and so on, and add-on skills mock tests were really helpful. Though they were much more difficult than the actual exam, they were really helpful.
That's really great, Satej. And just to clarify more to the audience of this podcast, the three section what Satej is talking about is this PMI has 180 questions. And what they do is there are two official break in between. So first 60 questions, then there will be one break, then the second section start from 61 question to 120 questions, then another 10 minutes break, and then the last section where you have to complete from 121 question to 180 questions. So there are two official break. Of course, these are not mandatory. PMI gives you an option. Do you want to continue with your exam, or do you want to take a break after the 60 question and after 120 question? This option is given to you. Okay. So Satej, I also want to ask you, did you took this 10 minutes break after first 60 question and after next 60 question as well? Would you like to tell us? And why did you took break?
Yes, sir. I took both the breaks because the exam was so exhaustive.
Yeah, yeah,
Before I appeared the exam, I was thinking that I will not take the breaks, but in the actual exam, you have to take break because it is very exhaustive.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
brain should need rest. So these 10-minute breaks are very important to concentrate on the further questions. So I took both of the breaks.
I think so. That's a great strategy. And I will definitely recommend taking a break where you can again motivate yourself and take some bio break. And you rightly said, sitting roughly close to 4 hour nonstop, going to create lot of fatigue. I also want to tell you that, but before you take a break, you'll have to submit your first 60 questions, and you will not able to revisit these 60 questions after that. Okay. This is very important, lesson learned or experiences that me and Satej want to share with this PMP aspirants community who maybe sometime will take the PMP certification exam. So you must first review those questions, be confident, and then submit your exam, and then you must take a break. And same thing after the second break also. Is that correct, Satej?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And it will really, really help this entire PMP aspirants community. My next question to you, Satej, maybe going a little back again to the journey. And you rightly said that, when you were handling some of these projects with agricultural department in New Delhi, more than your subject matter expertise, you felt that the project management approach will deliver better results to your customer and ultimately to Amnex, the organization you were representing at that point of time. So, when you started this PMP certification journey, was there any hesitation or any fear before starting this journey, Satej?
No, there wasn't any hesitation, or I would say I wasn't reluctant to take this up. But I would definitely say that I thought about it thoroughly because, as I said, it's a very expensive and time taking exam. It's not an easy exam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, while dealing with the stakeholders working on that project, I used to think about it. And as I said, I was a subject matter expert, and one project manager was also there. We used to have disagreements because project manager was not having the technical knowledge and I didn't
yeah,
have the project management knowledge. So there was a dichotomy, you would say, dichotomy or misunderstanding or something like that. But during that phase, I started thinking about going to this path of project management. Then I took up the course. The journey was not smooth. I would say it was a roller coaster ride because after completing the course, I remember that while that session I took it in May 2025. I was going to Nagpur because I had to train the trainers or train the agriculture experts over there in our
yes,
project. We developed a portal for the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. So I had to train the trainers or train the individuals as a part of our deliverables. So I
yes,
went there, I took the sessions. After that, I got very busy, so I could not invest my time. So I used to study, I think, once or twice a week. But from August I started my study seriously. My study plan was not very strict, but
yeah,
I started with Rita Mulaki's book. It was like Gita for me. I started that book, read that book, each and every concept I went through for around 2.5 months. Then I started mock tests because only reading is not important. You have to test yourself. Once you test yourself, then only you could understand that how much you understand, concepts you are familiar with. So for
right.
that, I went through advanced skills mock test. Obviously, the initial scores were not very good, but
Yes, yes.
I got frustrated. I got stuck, but I kept doing that, kept doing and But initially, I would say you should not have multiple resources for study. Then you
Yes.
get confused. But when you come to a position that I have read so many sessions, I could get this much score. Then for refining more, you can rely on YouTube videos. Thanks to AI as well, the PMI Infinity tool is there by PMI. That is a very good tool. But I would say that you cannot rely on AI completely because AI also can make mistakes.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have to cross check the answers provided by AI with other sources. So from January to March, I would say I studied rigorously 3-4 hours a day, and on weekends I used to spend around 8 to 10 hours reviewing each and every question. You suggested me that don't only check the wrong answers, you have to check the correct answers because sometimes luckily you get correct answers by just rushing through the questions. So you have to
Yes.
know that you should know that why this answer is correct, why this answer is wrong. So I used to check each and every answer, and I used to check many videos from other respected trainers as well. And
Very
finally,
good.
I decided that I have to get all above target score in across all the domains. I was very adamant, you would say, you
I
can
think
say.
so. This is very, very good. And sometime, this passion that I want to get a perfect score, and even if it take little bit more time, but I want to master this subject and get the maximum score that possible is really a great mindset, a great approach, and you not only just planned that, but you actually achieved that. So that's really, really awesome, Satej. And thank you for walking us through your entire journey. And what I could, in fact, you answered my next question that I wanted to ask. Did you plan everything at the beginning, or you had an adaptive approach kind of thing? So what I could see, you followed more an hybrid approach. Initially, you planned your roadmap to PMP certification journey, but because of the environmental factors, maybe your office pressures, office projects that you have to commit time, then you have to, when the a plan was not going as per the defined milestone, then you started adapting, keep refining your plan, doing certain things. And I think so this is really, really great. And even in the real projects, of course, we need to have a plan and then see how we can progressively elaborate that particular plan. So this is a great journey, and thank you for sharing with all of us. And this community must know that don't get disheartened when you not able to stick to a plan, because you can't say your organization or maybe to your family that I am doing this certification and I will not able to commit to my professional and my other personal responsibility. You management is where you work in a constraints environment. These constraints are the limitations where work pressure created constraints on you, when your family related responsibility. Those are all environmental factors that what we say, that we have to understand our environment, and then we need to keep revisiting our plan and see that how can we further optimize. If one plan is not working, how can we adopt a new plan? And but your goal should not change. Your plan
Yes.
changing is the best thing, but your target date, your commitment that you want to score above target in all the three domain, that remain very, very constant, I can say. That remain very rigid, but your plan was adaptable. And this is what really everybody must know, that our goal should be very much strict. We should always ensure that our goal post should not change, but our plan can adapt to achieve that goals, personal goals, professional goals. So that's really, really great, Satej. Satej, now continuing to this topic, when we are talking about hybrid approach, see, this PMP certification exam test not just the planned way, we say predictive way of managing project. It also talks about adaptive way of managing projects, and a combination of both, what we call hybrid approach to delivering the project output and the outcome. So would you like to tell us, did you had the agile knowledge before coming to training? Did you have learned some of these framework such as safe or scrum or maybe kanban? How was your agile experience in this PMP certification journey, Satej?
So I didn't have any agile experience. Why? Because our agriculture projects are mainly predictive projects only. Because
Awesome.
plan
Yeah.
is because the plan is ready, upfront planning is there. So I
Yeah.
didn't have any agile experience. But While studying the PMP syllabus, I got well versed with Agile. So I like Agile now more than Predictive, we would say.
Very good, very good. Yeah, absolutely, Satej. And that is what that means. It shows that you yourself are adaptable. You
Yes.
can adapt to any new environment, any new circumstances, and any new management practices or methodologies. But during the exam, what was our question more aligned toward a predictive way of managing projects or adaptive or hybrid? What kind of question distribution did you saw, Satej?
Actually, I think around 65% questions were from Agile management.
65%
Yeah, yes,
questions.
around
Okay.
60 to
Okay.
65, I would say. And the
Okay.
questions were not at all difficult because I had
Okay.
practiced so much that I didn't find any of the questions difficult, just that they were lengthy. So I had to go through all the details. I had to read each and every questions as well as the answers. So eliminating the answers was not also that difficult because see, the practicing is very important. The more you practice, the more you become well versed with the concept, and then you can easily eliminate the answers because PMI mindset is the key. You have to think like an ideal PMI project manager. That's it. So you have to build the mindset, and that mindset cannot be built in few hours or few weeks. You have to continuously study harder and harder. Now,
Yes.
I want to tell you one thing. I believed in Swami Vivekananda's famous quote that the harder your struggles are, the more glorious your victory will be. That's it. That was the mantra throughout my journey.
That's very inspiring. And you said the harder your journey, the more glorious will be
Victory,
your
triumph
victories
or
or
victory. Yes.
your results. I think so. That's really, really awesome. You really, in spite of saying that, oh, I have never worked in agile way of working in project management, you took it as your learning objective. You continuously improved in those areas, and today you rightly said you enjoying agile way of working more than the predictive way of working. This is really, really great, Satej. This is very interesting thing. And for this community, I want to ask because there are many people I see that they're overwhelmed by this entire PMP certification journey, and especially who do not have agile background. And now you said 65% of questions are agile. Somebody who are listening and they come to me, they say, "Oh, I don't have agile background, and how will I pass the PMP certification exam?" So I want to ask you. You are a great kind of an inspiration for them. Would you tell me? Of course, you said you study a lot, but what is your study material that you followed for improving your agile foundation, Satej?
Yes. Actually, as you said, that overwhelming thing.
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah,
I started my journey, our then project manager just completed his PMP and he was saying that dude, now you have to study Agile as well. I didn't know what
yeah,
Agile is, to be frank.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So you have to study more. 50% or 60% questions come from Agile project management and all. So as I said, I referred Rita Muleki's 10th and 11th edition. 11th edition is more focused on Agile. 10th edition is for questions because it has so many questions for practice. So I followed that book. Also, the PMI material provided by Add-on Skills, the lectures by the respected trainer. So these kind of things helped me a lot. Also, other reputed sources I followed. Due to that, I built up my method, and thanks to Agile Practice Guide also. It is a very
Awesome.
good book. Yeah, it's a very good book I referred. And using these sources, I built up gradually the mindset required for this Agile.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Agile Practice Guide is another important resource for PMP certification exam preparation. Okay. Of course, there's PMBOK guide, and of course, you took a PMI authorized training. So you got PMI published material
Yes.
for the PMP certification exam preparation. And you said multiple time the Rita Mulke book that you referred, 10th edition or 11th edition also. But other than this, did you also refer any other uh, author book for agile concept mastery, Satej, or only the agile practice
Only
guide?
Agile Practice Guide, Rita's book, and YouTube videos by respected trainers in the world. That's
Okay,
it.
okay. I think so. That should be
Because
great.
that book itself explains you each and every concept in detail, as well as the PMI material, as you said. These are enough resources.
Yeah. And why even I'm asking stage, because this audience who going to listen to, this podcast, they must be getting lot of confidence. And you rightly said, don't go for too much of material that you will get confused what to start, what to not start, and what order of priority you need to do. Start with one thing and then slowly, again, this is an agile journey. So maybe the PMI official content that you get it from your training organization, in this case add-on skills has given you, started with that. Of course, then the training notes that has helped you, of course the Rita Mulkai book that has helped you, and then you went into agile practice guide. Because many PMP aspirants, they ask me, is there any other book for agile concept mastery? So I just wanted to tell you that this, you what you said, that agile practice guide and the PMI material or even the PMBOK guide, they are more than sufficient for you to pass the exam with above target score like you, Satej. So thank you for sharing this, and this is really really helpful for the larger audience. Okay. Moving on to my next question, Satej. See, many aspirants struggle with the situational questions. How did you handle those situational questions during the PMP certification exam?
Actually, I followed three-step strategy. First is you have to clear all the concepts. You have to read it thoroughly. You have to focus on each and every aspect of those concepts. Secondly, give mock test as much as possible with different scenarios, with different sources available. Then check each and every wrong as well as correct answer, where I am going wrong, where to improve myself, especially in case of difficult and expert level questions. Because PMI tests you that how many difficult questions have you solved correctly. Not only that, I have cleared only easy level questions. It's not like that. The more difficult questions you solve correctly, the more your score will improve. That is the story.
Very good. Very good. So, what I can conclude from you is the scenario based questions, don't get afraid of them.
Yes.
Maybe practice lot of such scenario based question and reach out to your mentor and your training institute to help you give more such scenario based question, and evaluate those questions with your mentor and do thorough gap assessment and build mindset around these questions, and it will really help you in the
Yes.
exam.
One more thing is that add-on skills question bank is really good. Though initially a user like me finds it more difficult or
Yeah, yeah.
it's harder, but the scenarios explained or scenarios given in those mock tests are very crucial, because though they
Yes.
were lengthy, there were multiple and various scenarios are there. When you go through that scenarios, you analyze the scenario. What is the problem? I have to approach that problem. See, there are questions where multiple scenarios are there. Stakeholders are not happy. Procurement issues are there. Schedule issues are there. So you have to see which particular issue or which particular scenario is more negative than other ones, because the answer will be related to that issue only. So you have to understand the ups and downs and the criticality of the scenarios.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. That's great. Satej, about exam pressure.
Hmm.
See, this exam, I remember my days, Satej, when it's been almost 2 decades when I finished my PMP certification exam. And I remember still the pressure of that particular exam. I want to ask you, how did you stay calm and focused throughout this entire journey of PMP certification?
I would say, sir, that getting stuck is important. Whenever you get stuck and you are having the fighting spirit, you try to solve the problem, you try to find the root cause of the problem. Like in many PM questions, we have to see the root cause. So
Right.
when I was getting stuck, I used to find the root cause, where I'm getting wrong, where I have to improve myself. Likewise, I built up the PMP mindset. And on the exam also, I would not say that I was not under pressure. Pressure was there, because it's a very tough exam as well as expensive exam. So pressure was there. But I was thinking that, see, if I get this certificate, I will be happy. So for that happiness, I have to stay calm, I have to stay focused, and I have to solve each and every questions, come what may. So I kept on doing that, after completing the last question, I was really full, you can say, satisfied. And when I came into that, came outside that room, exam room, the guy who was assisting me asked me that, "Hey, how was your exam?" I
Yeah.
replied that the exam was easier. He came with the result in his hand, but his reply wasn't appropriate, as if I was saying that my reply was not in sync with the result in his hand. So I was very upset. After a few seconds, the lady who was in charge of that office, she told me that, "Hey, don't worry, you have passed it, and you have got above target score in across all the domains." So it was a surreal moment. It was a fulfilling moment. I was so satisfied. And after that exam, I took my bag, my luggage, and came outside the room. I was so eager to broadcast or tell this result to all my near and dear ones. And you were the first guy whom I shared my result with.
Thank you, Satej. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. And I can really imagine that moment because I have given so many PMI exam, 5 PMI certification I have done, and you know them: PMI, PMP, ACP, RMP, PGMP, and PFMP. And after every exam results, when you see that 4 character PASS, it so I can just feel those things, and I'm glad that our journey together delivered such great results. But of course, it's all your effort. We are just an enabler, and we had all those sessions and that discussion. I remember that we spoke about
Yes.
agile procurement related topic and a lot of other discussion what we had, and actually this is what we really want our alumni at add-on skills. We really want to deliver the best of the results, and you are part of our even WhatsApp community. You see that how we always intend that what can we do more and better so that we can deliver such great results. And when people get results, then we feel, yeah, our effort are really worth it actually.
Fulfilling. Worth it.
Fulfilling kind of thing. So thank you, Satej, for giving us also an opportunity to celebrate, because this really keeps us energized. This keeps us motivation to even work toward larger success of our customers and so on. So thank you for that, Satej. I would like to also ask just 2 or 3 specific advice that you want to give it to this PMP aspirants who are still targeting the certification.
Yes. My first advice would be stay focused, come what may. Will today or tomorrow you will get success. Second thing is PMP is just one step. It's like having a driving license.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
after that, the real journey begins. You have to
awesome.
be, yes, you have to be very transparent, ethical as prescribed by PMI. You have to take up many responsibilities. I am working on 3 different projects in agriculture, forestry, and urban fields. So you have to take up multiple responsibilities. You have to prove yourself. Then only this certification will be helpful in the future. Third important thing is don't ever give up. In any
Yes.
situation, you should not give up. Keep practicing more and more. One day you will find your own way, and that will be the success.
Absolutely, Atej. I think so. Great advice to this PMP aspirants community. If they follow this approach, this mindset, and result is definitely there just around the corner. Satej, now you already started that point, but I want to just elaborate that little bit more, Satej. See, you said you are handling now 3 4 projects from agricultural and forest department or forest department initiative related projects. How do you think this PMP certification journey learning will help you now to better shape these project initiatives, Satej?
So PMP is just a foundation. Read the theoretical concepts, the
Yeah, yeah,
scenarios, all
yeah,
the
yeah.
agile or predictive mindsets and all. So now it's time to apply those concepts in stakeholder management. Now, as I said, these projects, 2 of these projects are in initiation phase now. So
Yeah.
I have the great opportunity to apply those concepts from starting itself. So I will do that. I will engage myself as much as possible and do it so that
Any s- any
I will
specific
get
area,
success.
do you think, Satej, which you want to bring to your projects? Maybe let's say emotional intelligence or effective resource management or proactive risk management to achieve the objective of the project? What area do you think which will go into your practices as a certified professional now, Satej?
The two things are critical. One is resource management and risk management,
Okay.
because these projects are resource driven.
Yeah.
Two projects are there, these are resource driven, and these are highly technical projects as far as forestry is concerned. Though I have worked on forestry before, but this project is very complex. I have to learn many things. The resources also need to learn many things. So also risk is involved because so many different data sets are there, and getting data itself is a risk to deal with
Yes.
multiple stakeholders, especially government organizations, research institutes. So getting data itself is a risk. So these two aspects are critical as far as these projects are concerned.
Awesome. Awesome. No, absolutely. See, when organization resources are committed to a project, there always an opportunity cost. If
Yes.
some projects got organization resources and if they got authorized, that means equal number of projects are also not got authorized because of constraints of resources. So we should always be understanding that our resources should be most optimized. They are not overutilized as well as underutilized.
Underutilized.
So it is very, very important. Many professionals don't apply the learning from this certification journey. For them, even after certification, nothing changes in their project management way of working. And I'm glad that you said that risk management and resource management area where you specifically see lot of impact that you can create and the maximum value you can realize
Yes.
through applying these area of knowledge. Of course, Satej, you have also signed up for risk management subject and the certification training with add-on skills, and I'm sure that that certification journey will further enhance your risk management concept as well, and it will also deliver great results in every project initiative, because risk as a knowledge area or even resource management as a knowledge area are definitely very, very important in every single projects, Satej. I'm sorry, this one more question that coming to my
Sure,
mind
sure.
maybe will definitely help this community. What do you see the role of a training organization in the PMP certification journey, Satej?
See, as far as my opinion is, a teacher is always important. Without teacher or trainer, you cannot go.
Yeah, yeah.
So having a good trainer is a very good thing, because with that trainer, you can interact anytime. See, for doing revision, you can refer any YouTube videos
Yes,
from
yes.
a very reputed trainer or across the globe. But forming the foundation is very important, and for
Absolutely.
that, training is really important. The trainers play a very good role, or I would say they are the building blocks. Because if your foundation is not robust enough, how would you go ahead? For that,
Awesome.
trainers play a very good role. So training is important.
Awesome. Awesome. I think so. Absolutely right, Satej. Many people, what I see, Satej, people choose training organization, the cheapest training, wherever they can get the cheapest training they get. And then they struggle because then those training organization are the trainer are some freelance trainer coming and he's not even sharing his contact information or not even then sharing any kind of post training support. So having a training organization who can continuously and proactively be in touch with the PMP aspirants, that is very, very important. And you
Yes.
rightly said, if you a training organization can provide a nice trainer who can set the foundation strong, and then you rightly said, once the foundation is strong, then you can do your own research, maybe through YouTube video, maybe you can use AI. Then it builds your intellectual that to find out is this a right response or is this a wrong response. But if that foundation is weak, then you start trusting everything which come across to you. So this is a great point that you said, that the training organization builds your foundation, and only your foundation is strong, then your entire building will be very, very strong. So thank you. I think so that's all, Satej, for this podcast. It is really, really very frank and candid conversation with you about your entire career, not just a PMP certification journey, and a lot more to achieve for you and for all of us.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I also
Thank you,
learned a
Satej.
lot through this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Satej. Now, this is for my audience at P3M with Kailash Upadhyay. Friends, you do watch this podcast till the end, and we bring many such special guests who not just share their entire certification journey, but they talk about their impact in project management community or program or portfolio management community. So subscribe to this podcast, listen to this and share it, like it, and it's your gratitude for the entire community success. So please do share it, and if it reaches to somebody who really can get value through this kind of podcast or maybe some articles, then it's really really important for all of us. So that's all for now. We will very soon come up with another such great podcast to add value to your project program and portfolio management domain areas. Thank you, Satej, again.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thanks again.